Hello, welcome to Irresistible You, Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. My name is Karen Seltz. I am your host. I am so excited to dive into tonight's topic. I'm going to talk about the biggest mistakes that women make. And this is a pretty broad category, right? And one of the things that I truly, sincerely believe is that none of us go around making mistakes on purpose. Like if we knew that what we were doing wasn't getting us what we wanted, we would stop doing it. Or if we knew what to do instead, we would start doing it. So I don't mean to, poke you if you are making mistakes. Remember the definition of insanity that's very popular. I can't remember who said it first, but the definition of insanity is you keep doing the same things over and over and over and expecting different results. And I don't know about you, but I've done that a zillion times over the course of my lifetime. And it's not until something gets really super painful for me that I'm willing to say, okay, this is not working. I give up, I surrender. And that's usually what supports me in shifting out of it and creating a new habit or a new way of being. So I'm here, let's just play with this. One of the biggest mistakes, we're going to start there, that a lot of us make is taking life or taking ourselves too seriously. And I've said this a zillion times before. The ego is serious. And the ego is, and when I speak about the ego, I'm not talking about the psychological ego, the one that wants to, preserve your life, although this is part of it. The spiritual ego is the one I'm referring to. And that is the part that wants to keep you separate. It wants you to forget the truth of who you are, to forget that you are source, that you came from God, and you cannot be other than that. And it has so many tricks, and I talk about these regularly. In fact, I've written a book on it. So if you want that, let me know. I can get it to you for free. So one of the things is seriousness. So we take everything in our heads generally so seriously. And when we do that, like without getting it out on paper or calling a friend or something, it sounds so logical. So, for example, one of the things I teach is entrepreneurs and coaches how to show up on video. And for many people, it is a very scary thing to be on video. It's really vulnerable. People can see you and they can see what's beneath the surface. So if you haven't worked out your shit, it's coming up and everyone's going to see it. We can't really hide when you're on video. I mean, some people can, there are those personality types that I'm not qualified to diagnose, but so some people can. But most of us who are in the normal spectrum, well, hopefully I'm there, we can't hide that stuff. And people are picking up these subtle subconscious clues from the way we speak. So I'm going to give you an example. One of the women that's in my coaching program right now, when she talks about, there's a marketing sentence, like, your elevator speech, like the one sentence that says, okay, this is what I do, this is who I serve. Hers was ending on an up note. Like, I'm not going to tell you hers, but I'll tell you mine. But I'll try to do the intonation, and you see how that feels. So I support coaches and entrepreneurs. There, I did it. Do you catch that? In connecting everything that they know, their wisdom, with who they are, their hearts, so they can show up authentically on video. I'm trying to do it. So at the end of her thing, it was a question. And what I said to her is like, well, I didn't say this, but in my head, I'm like, are you sure? So what happened for me was she lost authority because she didn't sound sure of what she did. When you phrase something and you go up at the end, that makes it a question. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that is one of the subtle clues that comes through when you speak. And everybody picks it up, at least their subconscious mind does. So when people don't trust you, there's something being triggered in their subconscious minds that's like, something's off. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it, but something's off. So one of the mistakes that I see people doing is being serious, right? That's the ego. And what I say is our spirits are playful. They want to play. And it's like, it's like your inner child that hasn't been wounded, like the part of you that's like, there's nobody watching. I think I will fill up this balloon with milk. I mean, I don't know, I'm just making stuff up, but just like ridiculous things. And then I'm going to go pop it outside, just things that are silly and they bring you joy. So that's one of the big mistakes, is taking yourself or life too seriously. So what do you do? What do you do when you're doing that? When you start saying, oh my gosh, this is, life is lifing and this is so serious and it's going to be like this forever. Well, I just gave you a clue right there. When you say this is going to be like this forever, that's the ego, right? Because nothing is going to be like that forever. So one thing you can do is ask yourself, in 1 week, will I be thinking about this? Will I be thinking about this? Or will it matter? And this is really interesting because when I was in college, I was very, very studious and I paid for my own school. So I waitressed and I worked almost every single day of every single weekend. So I didn't go to college parties, and people would talk about like how fun they were, or you got to go to this party. And then I would think to myself that exact same thing, like, will I remember this party in a week? Probably not, especially if I'm drinking, right? But the grades that I get will always be on my transcript. So I always made those choices, even back then, like what long term, what is going to matter to me? So if something's, remember that book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. So if something's small, like you're not going to remember it in a week or a month, don't sweat it. You might as well play. You might as well have some fun and then play the what if game or the wouldn't it be fun game. So I love this meditation by Dr. Joe Dispenza. It's called Changing Boxes. And it is based on the many worlds phenomenon in quantum physics, which states that at any given moment, there are an infinite number of universes or worlds, and you can choose whichever one you want, whenever you want. They're all existing simultaneously. So the Changing Boxes meditation has you get in touch with a world or dimension where your problem does not exist. Now, in that world, who are you being? How does that feel in your body to not have that problem anymore? And you can tap into that whenever you want. It's simply a choice, to get quiet, to put your cell phone down. I'm talking to myself. Put your cell phone down, get quiet. Maybe put on some music that helps you to relax. Close your eyes. Take some slow, deep breaths in through your heart. Feel an elevated emotion. What will you feel in the absence of that problem? Maybe it's peace, maybe it's safety, maybe it's joy, maybe it's bliss, maybe it's connection, unity, passion. Whatever it is for you, feel all those feelings and know that that world does exist. And when you can get into that place and stay there, then what Dr. Joe has us do is like draw that version of you to you with your heart, like right now. And then you shorten the timelines, because in the quantum field, I'm losing my words, in the infinite realm of all possibilities, there's an infinite amount of time. And it's kind of interesting. The space thing is condensed. So you can draw something to you. It doesn't have to take 30 years to get from point A to point B. It can be now. It can be in this moment. So it's very interesting. So I love to play. And I think playfulness is so underrated these days. Everybody wants to be serious. They want to be taken seriously. And that, my friends, is the ego. It's gotcha by the short ones. I didn't say that out loud, did I? I'm so sorry. Well, there I am. I'm being playful. So what other types of mistakes? There are also, so mistakes are actions that you take that you think will get you some outcome that you want, but it's not working. There's another thing called misconceptions. And these are beliefs that you hold that you believe are true. And beliefs could be defined as a thought that you've continued to think over and over and over until you no longer think it. You just believe it. You think it's fact. And your beliefs are not facts. And here's how I'm going to prove it to you. So if beliefs were facts, beliefs actually create your results. So whatever I believe that's true for me will create every single thing that I experience, every single thing that I draw into my field, my 3D reality. So if I believe that abundance is all around me, you're going to see me living an abundant life. If I believe in scarcity, if I believe in lack, you're going to see me struggling. You're going to see me looking at my bank account and being all nervous. Now, if everybody had the same beliefs, everybody would have the same results. So if beliefs were true, every single person on the world would be a billionaire, or every single person on the planet would be homeless. And it's simply not the case. So right in the middle of the word belief is also a 3-letter word to remind you that it's not true. And that word is L-I-E, lie. And I love that reminder, like, okay, what am I believing right now that it has me experiencing this version of reality or creating these results? So if you look at that belief, it's also tied to an identity. And identity is so fascinating. If you think about, if I ask you like, oh, tell me about yourself, who are you? What kind of words do you use to describe yourself? Some people would say like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm whatever. I like to do yoga, whatever, like the things that are really, quite frankly, temporary. They're not really who you are. And all of us do that. And when we're asked to describe ourselves, we'll talk about characteristics or things that I believe are temporary. I believe in multiple lives. Like we've lived multiple lives, we'll continue to live multiple lives. So will I be a mother in my next life? I have no clue. Like, so it's not really part of my identity. The things that are true about me, that are true always, are true about you and are true always, no matter what lifetime you are in, no matter what you're experiencing in this lifetime. And those are things like, I am one with God. That for me is a universal truth. I know that I am one. I am one with everyone and everything. We share a heart, we share a mind, we share a consciousness. I am love in a body. I am pure spirit. I am unlimited. So things like that, those can never, ever change. It has nothing to do with whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. You are lovable always. You are pure love in a body right now. So if you look at your identity and you think about how all of those labels came to be, I mean, most of them, a lot of them, not most of them, were there before you were 7 years old. Like, okay, be a good little girl or a good little boy, or big boys don't cry, things that we think we have to be a certain way in order to get love. And many of us did, we had to behave a certain way in order to get love. We became human doings. We were earning it. And now, after we hit a certain age, we're undoing everything. That's why many of us have gone through lots of therapy or coaches, things. We're on this quest to evolve, to grow, to become enlightened, to know the truth about who we are. So what I'm asking is for you to really dig deep on those identity things and start to question them. Is it really true? Is it really true that I'm not lovable if I'm not a good girl? No, it's definitely not true. You're lovable always, always, always. And then you get to really look at it, like which of these identity pieces or characteristics or beliefs are really supporting you in living a life of whatever you want it to be, like whatever a successful life is for you. Do you feel connected? Do you feel loved? Do you feel like you're contributing? Do you feel lit up? Do you feel passionate? Are you freaking bored? Are you living the same life over and over and just praying for somebody to save you? Been there, done that, right? And so that's why I get on these rants sometimes. It's like, I'm so done with it. I'm done with hiding. I'm done with playing small. I am done with people pleasing. And I got to this point where it was extremely painful to be me. It was extremely painful. I couldn't stand to look in the mirror. And I'm like, I can't go on like this. I'm going to die. I really felt like that. So I hope you don't need something quite that strong to wake you up, to really start digging into this. Like, what are you here for? What do you want? I think one of the mistakes I see a lot of women make is not even knowing what they want, not even being willing to say it out loud. They're so worried about what other people think, or if they can actually achieve it, that they don't want to say it out loud. They're afraid of a failing. So really get clear on your vision. And it doesn't happen in a vacuum. You're not going to say, okay, I want to influence 1 million women to stop wearing underwear. I'm cracking myself up. And then you're like, well, why do I want that? Why would that be important to me? I mean, I picked something ridiculous, but you want to really take action. And the more you take action, you're like, okay, I know I want to feel this way. I know that I want other people to feel this way when they're with me. And then you just start taking little steps toward it. So it's not like you have to have this big, huge vision before you take any action, because you'll never, ever know what your vision is. It is always changing in some degree. Like, the details change a lot for most of us. But have an idea of like what you want to feel and what you want other people to feel, or what, just the feeling is so important. And then to start taking action steps. So that's another mistake that I see women make, is like, oh, I'll do something once I have clarity. Have you ever done that? Once I have clarity, then I'll start. Like, you don't get clarity until you start, until you're willing to fall down and get back up and say, well, that didn't work. Let's try something else. Or you actually get your vision, you actually achieve it, and you're like, this doesn't feel as good as I thought it would. Now what? And your vision can keep morphing, it can keep changing. We're human beings. Like, we're going to have this experience of growth and expansion if we're actually living, not just waiting to die or not existing. We get to have some fun and play. So one of the biggest mistakes, like I'm saying, is take action. Take action before you're ready. Be willing to fail. Be willing to mess it up. As long as you have a good heart, you're not trying to hurt anybody. If you have a vision, you're like, okay, I know I want to do something to help people. I know I want to do something in spirituality. Then just start talking. Start doing lives on Facebook, or get a group, start a book club. I mean, do something. That's the big thing, is like, take action. There's this big misnomer in the spiritual community, I think perpetuated by the movie The Secret. Like, I'll just meditate and pray and have a vision board and everything will come to me. Well, great. That hasn't worked for me. What's worked for me is, having some idea of what I want and taking some action, and like, okay, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. And then being willing to be flexible and to be kind of an open conduit, and just keep checking in, like, okay, what would you have me do now? And I'm asking God, spirit, whatever you want to call it, but I'm taking action, because not action, but clarity doesn't happen in a vacuum. You must be doing something. Life doesn't just happen to you. You get to be at cause, not at effect. And that's part of being responsible for your relationship with source. Like, really owning that you are that one. And I know that might not make sense, but in The Way of Mastery, which is a book that I read over and over, it will say things like, I and my Father are one. I am that one, like, sent forth from the Father or whoever you believe. Like, I am that spark of divinity, and everybody else is too. But are we awake to it? Like, we are all these sparks of divinity, and we have a role to play. Are we playing our part? Are we checking in? Or are we just going unconscious and living the same day over and over? Because that is how our brains are designed. They're wired that way, to produce more of the same to keep us safe. But the problem with that is it's boring and it doesn't last. And then stuff starts to happen to wake us up. Like, we get into a car accident or somebody dies or we get a disease. And I believe it's all designed to wake us up because we go unconscious unless something happens. So I'm saying create the something. Don't wait for tragedy. Like create something fun to happen. As long as it's different than what you did yesterday, you're evolving instead of revolving, because you can only revolve for so long before something will come in and say, wake up, wake up. It's like the universal bitch slap. It's like time to get off that hamster wheel and start contributing, start living a life of passion, one that you're proud of, that you're going to leave a legacy. So I know I've thrown a lot of things at you. The biggest thing is really become conscious of the programs that are running. So everything you do without thinking, like me with my cell phone at night, when I pick it up and say, oh, I'll just check. I have a notification on Facebook. I'll just see what it is. And then 30 minutes goes by because I have to check everybody else's feed. I went unconscious. So what are your behaviors that you go unconscious to? What are the thoughts that you let slip by your awareness without noticing them? I'll start tomorrow, or this will never work for you. It works for other people, but not for you. Oh, maybe you're just not cut out for that. Oh, or even negative things. Like if you start judging somebody else, a lot of times we're unconscious to that. And I had a conversation today with my accountability buddy, and we were talking about relationships. And she was saying like her partner really is responsible when he creates some type of discord in the relationship. She's like, I always just think it's him if there's discord. I'm like, you're the perfect mirror for me. We have the, I'm always right thing. And I thought that was hilarious. Like, but I'm conscious to it now, but not always right in the moment. Sometimes I have to step back. I'm like, oh, there I go. Because there's these chemicals that get released into my system when I'm being right. And it feels like a drug. I tell you, I'm like, oh, I'm ready to go. Like, okay, Lola, calm down. I'm like ready to go. And I'm like filled with all this energy to fight my fight and to prove that I'm right. So what are your rackets like that? Like, what are the things that really get you, like get your chemicals going? Like, oh yeah, this is like a juicy cocktail. Like I'm getting high from my being right chemicals. So think about those and then bring those beliefs up and just start noticing them. Tell your subconscious mind, hey, tell me when I go unconscious to this belief. Now you have to tell it what it is. And here's what I want to believe instead. Here's what I want you to show me. Show me that the world is full of abundance. Show me that the world is full of kindness. Show me how I can make a difference. Show me how I'm already making a difference. So you tell it what you don't want anymore and have it alert you when you go unconscious to it. And then tell your subconscious mind what to look for instead. So when you have those two things, you can really start making changes that last and they will accumulate. It's like that step-by-step thing. I trust this supported you. Thank you so much for watching Irresistible You, Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. I would love to hear your comments. What came up for you? Did I piss you off? Did you say, oh my gosh, I never thought of that? Like, tell me what you thought of this. I will be sure to comment back. If you like this video, please subscribe and share it. All right, I'll see you. No, I won't see you next week. I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks off of this show. So I'll be back November 30th with a brand new episode. I will see you then. Thanks. Mwah.